The ceiling knows your secrets. Every crack memorized, every shadow catalogued, every desperate prayer you've whispered into the 2 a.m. dark when the world sleeps but your mind won't stop running its loops. If your thoughts race laps when everyone else is dreaming, if you've counted the seconds between your router's blue blinks, if your chest tightens the moment your head hits the pillow, if you know exactly which floorboard creaks on the way to the kitchen at 3 a.m., this one's for you. My mind wouldn't stop. Yours either, maybe. And peace. Peace felt like a country I'd never visit, a language I'd never speak, a gift given to everyone but me. But there's a door I hadn't opened. A name Jesus gives to people whose minds won't quit. A practice that works at 2 a.m. when nothing else will. Tonight isn't about numbing the noise or scrolling until your eyes blur or pretending one more breathing exercise will fix what's breaking inside you. It's about becoming what Jesus called blessed, a peacemaker. Not someone who hides from the storm, but someone who learns to host peace even when the winds howl inside your skull. I'm going to tell you a real story, my story, from the bottom of a sleepless spiral where I learned the difference between keeping peace and making it. And I'm handing you 3 things. A KJV promise that rewrites your identity before you fix a single thing. A 3-step practice you can use tonight when the thoughts start stacking, breathe, bless, build. And permission to stop pretending you're fine when you're barely holding on. Let me take you back. 2:03 a.m. Ceiling fan counting rotations I've stopped trying to track. Router light in the hallway. Blue blink, pause, blue blink, pause. Rhythm I know better than my own heartbeat. Fridge kicks on in the kitchen. Hum fills the apartment like it's singing a hymn I can't understand. Phone face down on the nightstand because I know better. But my heart doesn't care about digital detox when it's hammering against my ribs like it's trying to escape. Sheets twisted around my legs. Pillow rotated 3 times already. No cool side left. Skin damp at the hairline where worry sweats through willpower. And the what-ifs, oh God, the what-ifs, they stack like Jenga blocks in my chest, and I'm waiting for the tower to fall. What if I can't pay the bill that's due Thursday? The thought drops first, heavy as a stone in still water. Ripples spread. What if she's upset and I don't know it yet? What if the silence in our text thread means I'm losing her and I'm too blind to see it coming? What if I said the wrong thing 3 days ago at lunch and it's sitting in someone's chest right now, festering, turning into a story about who I am that I'll never get to correct? What if the test results come back bad? What if I'm failing at work and everyone sees it but me? What if? What if? What if? The blocks keep stacking, and my chest keeps tightening, and the ceiling keeps staring back at me with its 17 cracks that I've counted so many times I could draw them from memory. I replay the conversation from Tuesday. The one where I laughed too loud, talked too much, interrupted Sarah when she was mid-sentence. I rewrite my response in my head. 17 different versions. Rehearse an apology that'll never sound right, never land clean, never undo the moment. Add it to the stack. The router blinks. Blue, pause, blue. My heart matches the rhythm for 3 cycles, then races ahead. I grab my phone. I know I shouldn't. I know the blue light will make it worse. Know the scroll will feed the spiral. Know I'm looking for peace in a place that only sells anxiety dressed up as connection. But my thumb moves anyway because at least the scroll is something to do, and doing feels better than lying here drowning in my own thoughts. 30 seconds in, I'm reading about someone's perfect morning routine. Meditation, gratitude journal, green smoothie, sunrise yoga. Comments full of people who apparently sleep through the night and wake up refreshed and have their lives figured out. I lock the phone, put it face down, stare at the ceiling again. The what-ifs reload, fresh ammunition. What if everyone else knows how to live and I missed the instruction manual? I try the breathing app, the one I downloaded 6 months ago when I promised myself I'd get serious about anxiety management. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 7, exhale for 8. My heart laughs at the count, keeps pounding its own tempo, fast, frantic, uncooperative. 3 rounds in, I give up, count the ceiling cracks instead. 1, 2, 3, 17. Same 17 as last Thursday, same 17 as last month, same 17. I'll count tomorrow night when this happens again because it always happens again. I pray, sort of. Half sentences launched into the dark like flares that sputter out before they reach heaven. God, please. Please what? I don't even know. Just help. Please, nothing. No peace descends, no still small voice. Just the fridge hum and the fan rotation and my heart doing its hammering thing. I used to know people who could help with nights like this. Mom used to say, "Just give it to God, honey." But she never explained the mechanics. How do you hand invisible anxiety to an invisible God? What does that transaction even look like at 2 a.m. when your chest is tight and your brain won't stop spinning worst-case scenarios? I have friends who sleep through the night. I know I do. I've seen their peaceful morning posts, their well-rested faces, their easy smiles that say they didn't spend the dark hours battling their own minds. What do they know that I don't? What switch did they flip that I can't find? Even Jesus feels far away tonight, like he's in another time zone, another dimension, like he handles the daytime stuff, the prayers in church, the highlighted Bible verses, the moments when I'm strong enough to look faithful. But the 2 a.m. stuff, that's on me. And I'm failing. I used to sleep. I remember that version of me. Careless, easy, unafraid of the dark. I'd hit the pillow and wake up 8 hours later like it was a magic trick I didn't have to think about. When did that stop? When did my mind become the enemy? When did night become the arena where every fear I suppressed during daylight comes out to play? I think it started small. A night here, a night there. Worry about a test, a relationship, a bill, normal stuff. But it grew, spread, became this thing that lives in my chest now, this permanent resident that pays no rent but owns half my real estate. I should be stronger. The thought drops in, familiar as an old song. Other people manage. Other people have worse problems and still sleep. What's wrong with me? I'm worried about worrying now. Meta-anxiety. The loop inside the loop. I'm spinning about the fact that I'm spinning, ashamed that I can't just will myself into peace like it's a switch I'm too weak to flip. A memory flickers, uninvited. Sunday school, years ago. I can't remember the teacher's name, but I remember her voice. Soft, certain, reading from Matthew. Something about peacemakers. Something about being called children of God. I push it away. Peace feels like a fairy tale right now. A word for people who don't know what it's like to have their brain turn into a courtroom at 2 a.m., prosecuting every mistake they've made since middle school. And I'm no peacemaker. I can't even make peace with my own thoughts. Can't broker a treaty between my heart and my head. Can't negotiate a ceasefire in the war that's raging in my chest every time I try to sleep. The ceiling fan rotates, the fridge hums, the router blinks its blue hymn, and somewhere in the space between the mechanical sounds and my racing heartbeat, I hear something. Not audible, not out loud, just a whisper in the quiet that feels different from my own voice trying to coach myself calm. I am not far from you in the night. Bring the noise into my light. But I don't recognize it as him. Not yet. It sounds like me, trying to be encouraging, trying to fake myself into faith. I sit up. Feet hit the cold floor. Shock of temperature, small mercy of sensation that isn't anxiety. I stand. Walk to the kitchen because I need a different ceiling to stare at, a different room to pace in, a different space to contain this thing that's eating me alive from the inside out. The tile is cold under my bare feet. The fridge hum is louder here, almost comforting in its predictability. I lean against the counter, hands gripping the edge. Voice cracks in the silence. I don't say it out loud, but it's louder than a shout in my head. I don't know how to make peace. I only know how to hide from the war in my head. And that's the truth, isn't it? That's the thing I've been avoiding while I've been avoiding everything else. I don't know how to fix this. I don't know how to be the kind of person who sleeps easy. I don't know how to turn off the what-ifs or quiet the replays or stop the spiral once it starts. I only know how to hide. Smile during the day. Pretend I'm fine. Keep the surface calm while earthquakes rumble underneath. Peace within. The words float through my head. Not mine, but not quite recognizable as anyone else's either. I don't have it. Peace within. But God, I ache for it. Ache like a bone-deep thirst, like a homesickness for a place I've never been. The fridge hums its hymn. The darkness holds its breath. And somewhere between the hum and the heartbeat, a question rises that I didn't plant, didn't think, didn't choose. What if peace isn't something you find, but something you become. I don't have an answer. Don't even know what the question means, really. But something shifts. Small. Tectonic. A hairline crack in the foundation of the fortress I've built around my fear. I stay in the kitchen. Lean against the counter. Let the cold tile ground me through my feet. Let the fridge hum fill the silence. Let the question sit in my chest without trying to answer it. And for the first time tonight, maybe the first time in months, I'm not trying to fix it. I'm just here, in the 2 a.m. kitchen with my racing heart and my tired eyes and my desperate questions. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough for now. The sun comes up whether you slept or not. That's the cruel mercy of morning. It doesn't care about your 2 a.m. ceiling negotiations, doesn't ask permission, just arrives with its demands and its light and its expectation that you'll function like a person who rested. I make coffee. The ritual steadies me. Filter, grounds, water, button. Wait for the drip. Sounds I can predict. Small mercies. I slept maybe 90 minutes total. Fell back into bed around 4, drifted off sometime after that, woke to my alarm feeling like I'd been hit by a truck that was driven by my own anxiety. But I'm upright, dressed, faking it until what? Until I make it, until it gets better, until I finally break. I sit at the kitchen table with my coffee going cold in front of me. Same table where I stood at 2:03 a.m. Same fridge humming its hymn. Daylight makes it all look normal. Harmless, manageable, liar's light, because the what-ifs are still there. Quieter now, maybe. Background noise instead of sirens, but there, always there. And the memories start coming, uninvited, non-linear, rising like sediment in water someone stirred and walked away from. I'm 8 years old, covers pulled over my head, Walkman turned up as loud as it'll go. Mom and Dad are fighting in the next room. I can't hear the words over my music, but I can hear the tone. Sharp, jagged, breaking. I stay under the covers until the front door slams. Until silence comes. I learned something that night. When there's conflict, you hide. You make yourself small. You turn up the noise until you can't hear the real noise. You wait it out. Solution? Hide. I'm 15. Best friend. The kind where you share everything, finish each other's sentences, plan your futures in the same city, stops talking to me. No explanation, no fight I can point to. Just silence where there used to be laughter. I see her at school. Smile. Act fine. Pretend it doesn't feel like someone reached into my chest and took something vital. Cry in the shower where no one can hear. Never ask her why. Never say it hurts. Never reach out to repair what I don't understand how I broke. 6 months later, she moves away. I never get the answer. Solution. Avoid confrontation. I'm 22. College apartment. 3 roommates. One of them, Katie, starts leaving passive-aggressive notes. About dishes. About noise. About boundaries I didn't know I was crossing. Each note feels like a paper cut. Small, sharp, cumulative. I absorb it. Swallow it. Smile when I see her. Clean extra, carefully. Walk on eggshells in my own home. The tension builds like weather. You can feel the pressure change, know the storm's coming, but nobody names it. 3 months later I move out. Never had the conversation, never said what hurt, never gave her the chance to explain or apologize or meet me halfway. I just left. Solution, escape. Last year. Work. Co-worker who makes comments, little digs disguised as jokes, boundary violations dressed up as friendliness. I laugh along. Play it off. Tell myself it's not a big deal. I'm being too sensitive. It's just how she is. But I carry it home. In my jaw, clenched tight during the commute. In my shoulders, hunched by the time I walk through my door. In my 2 a.m. ceiling stares, replaying every comment, writing responses I'll never say. Never address it. Never set a boundary. Never say, hey, that doesn't land well with me. Just carry it. Like weight I'm supposed to be strong enough to bear. Solution, silence. The coffee's gone completely cold now. I'm staring at the mug like it holds answers. And I see it. The pattern. The through line I've been too close to notice. My dad was a peacekeeper too. I see it now with adult eyes. He kept the surface calm, smooth, easy, agreeable, while earthquakes rumbled underneath. Never raised his voice, never made waves. And when the marriage crumbled anyway, when keeping the peace didn't keep the family, he looked shocked, betrayed, like he'd followed all the rules and still lost the game. I learned that love means not making waves, that peace means pretending everything's fine, that conflict is the enemy and avoidance is the strategy, and if you just stay quiet enough, small enough, agreeable enough, everything will work out. Except it doesn't. The roommate thing? I lost a friendship because I chose silence over honesty. The work thing? I'm still carrying resentment like a stone in my chest. The what-ifs at 2 a.m. They're all the conversations I didn't have, the boundaries I didn't set, the truth I didn't speak because I thought keeping the peace meant never disturbing the water. But here's what I'm understanding in the daylight quiet of this kitchen. I don't have peace. I have the appearance of peace, the performance of it, the exhausting, unsustainable, 2 a.m., ceiling-staring cost of it. Peacekeeping isn't peacemaking, it's just conflict deferred, tension transferred. War moved from the room into my chest where I fight it alone at 2 a.m. while everyone else sleeps. The cost shows up in my body, jaw tight, shoulders hunched, chest heavy. The cost shows up in my relationships. Surface level because I never let anyone close enough to risk real conflict. The cost shows up in my faith, praying half sentences because I can't even be honest with God about what's really breaking me. I'm sitting here with a cold cup of coffee and a hot flush of shame because I'm 29 years old, and I just realized I've been doing relationship wrong my entire life. Not because I'm mean or selfish or cruel, but because I'm afraid. Afraid of anger, afraid of confrontation, afraid of being too much or not enough or the reason someone walks away. So I walk away first. Or I stay but shrink, make myself small and quiet and palatable and peaceful. Except I'm not peaceful, I'm pretending. And the pretending is killing me one sleepless night at a time. My phone's on the table, I pick it up, not to scroll this time, to search. Matthew 5. I type it in the search bar. The Beatitudes. I've read them before. Sunday school, youth group, half a dozen sermons. Words so familiar, they stopped meaning anything, just became wallpaper in the background of faith. But I scroll to verse 9 and I read it like I'm seeing it for the first time. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Matthew 5:9, KJV. I read it again. Peacemakers, not peacekeepers. The word lands different in the 9 a.m. kitchen light after a 2 a.m. breakdown. Jesus didn't say, blessed are the people who avoid conflict. Didn't say, blessed are those who pretend everything's fine. Didn't say, blessed are the ones who swallow their truth to keep others comfortable. He said peacemakers, makers, builders. People who actively create something that doesn't exist yet. And the promise attached, they shall be called the children of God. That's not about earning status, it's about identity, about who you already are. The word called is sitting in my chest now, warm and strange. Not, they become children of God by making peace. They are called, named, claimed, identified. Like peacemaking isn't the entrance exam, it's the family business. The thing you do because of whose child you are, not to prove you deserve to be one. I don't become a child of God by making peace. I make peace because I'm already his child. The verse flips the script I've been reading from my whole life. Peace isn't a personality trait I lack, not a skill I failed to develop, not a spiritual gift everyone else got but me. It's a family resemblance, something I grow into, something I learn by watching my father and copying his methods. And suddenly the what-ifs from 2 a.m. look different. What if I can't pay the bill? What if I made peace with God about my finances instead of spiraling alone? What if she's upset with me? What if I made peace by asking instead of assuming? What if I said the wrong thing? What if I made peace by apologizing instead of rehearsing shame? Peacemaking means entering the conflict, not avoiding it. Means building a bridge, not building a wall. Means honest words spoken in love instead of silent resentment carried alone. But my brain fights it. Old programming dies hard. You, a peacemaker? You can't even make peace with your own thoughts. You fall apart at 2 a.m. You avoid hard conversations. You're the least qualified person for this job. I stare at the verse on my phone screen. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. And then, I don't know what makes me do it. Impulse I don't recognize as Holy Spirit yet. Just a nudge that feels different from my own thoughts. I try something new. I speak out loud, quietly, awkwardly, in my empty kitchen with cold coffee and morning light and no one to hear me but God. I'm scared I can't pay the bill that's due Thursday. The words hang in the air. Confession instead of catastrophizing. I'm afraid I hurt someone 3 days ago and I don't know how to fix it. My voice cracks a little. Keeps going. I'm terrified of being seen as weak, of asking for help, of admitting I can't hold it all together. Silence follows. Not the amplifying kind from 2 a.m., where every fear gets louder in the quiet. Different silence, the holding kind, like I spoke my fear into a space that has room for it, like I named the thing instead of letting it name me, like confession to God is different from confession to my ceiling. One's a monologue with myself, the other's a conversation with someone who's actually listening. The fridge hums. The morning light slants across the table. And 3 words drop into my head. Didn't think them, didn't choose them, just heard them like someone speaking a language I'm only starting to learn. Breathe, bless, build. I don't know what it means yet, don't have the full map, but it feels like a road where before there was only fog, like maybe there's a way forward that isn't hiding or avoiding or pretending, like maybe peacemaking has a method I can learn. And then, softer than sound, clearer than thought, that whisper again. Child, peace is not a wall you hide behind. It is a door you open with me. I sit very still. Child, when's the last time I let God call me that? When's the last time I believed it? Not as theology, not as Sunday school answer, but as lived reality. I am his child, not because I perform well, not because I keep the peace perfectly, not because I have my anxiety managed and my life together and my 2 a.m. thoughts under control. I am his child because he calls me his child. And peacemaking, that's what his children do. Not to earn the name, but because we carry it. Peace within. The refrain floats through again. Still not there. Still not living it. But closer. Closer than I was at 2:03 a.m. when the ceiling was my only counselor. I look at my phone again, at the verse still glowing on the screen. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. I screenshot it, set it as my lock screen, because I need to see it every time I reach for the phone at 2 a.m., looking for peace in the scroll. I need to remember, I'm not looking for peace. I'm learning to make it, and I don't do it alone. The morning's still young. The what-ifs are still whispering. The coffee's still cold. But something shifted in this kitchen between the darkness and the dawn. I named the pattern, saw the cost, heard the invitation, and for the first time in longer than I can remember, I think, maybe I don't have to fix this all at once. Maybe I just have to stop pretending I can do it alone. Maybe peacemaking starts with letting God into the 2 a.m. room and the 9 a.m. kitchen and every scared space in between. I stand, pour out the cold coffee, make a fresh cup. The fridge hums its hymn, the light grows stronger, and I stay in the kitchen a little longer. Not hiding, not avoiding, not running to the next thing. Just sitting with God and the quiet and the strange, fragile beginning of something I don't have words for yet, something that feels like hope. The next few days move slow and fast at the same time. Slow because I'm hyper-aware of everything now. Every conversation where I swallow my truth. Every moment I choose performance over honesty. Every time I feel the old peacekeeping instinct kick in. Fast because I can't unsee what I've seen. Can't unknow what I know. There's a conversation I've been avoiding for 3 weeks, maybe longer. My sister, Emma, she asked me to help with Mum's birthday planning back in September. I said yes, because that's what I do. I say yes, I people please, I avoid the conflict of saying no. But I've been drowning at work, barely sleeping, running on fumes and caffeine and the fumes of caffeine. I haven't called her back, haven't followed through. And her texts have gone from friendly check-ins to terse one-liners to silence. The silence is worse than the texts. I know she's hurt. I know she thinks I don't care. I know I've created the exact situation I was trying to avoid by saying yes in the first place. Distance, disappointment, damage, classic peacekeeping backfire. Say yes to keep the peace. Fail to follow through because you're overextended. Create more conflict than if you'd just been honest from the start. I'm sitting at my kitchen table again. It's become my war room, apparently, my place of reckoning. and I'm staring at her name in my contacts like it's a grenade I'm afraid to pull the pin on. Just call her, but my chest tightens. What if she's angry? What if she doesn't want to hear it? What if my apology makes it worse? The what-ifs start stacking again, old familiar pattern, and then I remember the verse, the one I screenshot, the one that's been staring at me from my lock screen every time I pick up my phone. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Peacemakers don't avoid the hard conversation. They make peace, actively, honestly, even when it's uncomfortable. I grab my journal, the one I've been half-heartedly keeping since New Year's, mostly filled with to-do lists and anxious scribbles. I open to a blank page, and I write, not pretty, not polished, just raw. God, I'm tired of faking it. Tired of pretending I'm fine when I'm drowning. Tired of saying yes when I mean no. Tired of avoiding conflict until it becomes a 2 a.m. ceiling companion. I don't know how to make peace. With Emma, with myself, with you. I've been hiding my whole life. Hiding behind yes when I mean no. Hiding behind smiles when I'm breaking. Hiding behind silence when I need to speak. I'm done hiding. Show me another way. My hands shaking a little when I put the pen down. That's the most honest thing I've prayed in years, maybe ever. Not a polished prayer. Not a Sunday-appropriate, small group safe prayer. Just truth, unfiltered, undefended. And in the silence that follows, I feel it. That same holding presence from the other morning. Like God's not shocked by my honesty. Like he's been waiting for it. I look at myself in the black screen of my laptop before it wakes up. Mirror moment. And I ask the question I've been avoiding. What's really keeping me up at 2 a.m.? Not the surface stuff. Not the what-ifs about bills and texts and mistakes. Deeper. The wars inside that fuel the worry outside. I write them down. People-pleasing. I'd rather carry someone else's disappointment in my chest than risk their anger in the room. I'll say yes when I mean no, smile when I'm screaming inside, agree when I disagree. Anything to avoid the discomfort of someone being upset with me. Cost. I lose myself, lose my voice, become a version of me that everyone likes but I don't recognize. Perfectionism. If I can't do something flawlessly, I avoid it entirely. Then shame myself for avoiding. The standard is impossible, so I either perform or I hide. No middle ground, no room for human. Cost. I'm either performing or paralyzed. Either pretending to have it together or falling apart in private. No in between. Fear of being weak. Asking for help feels like failure. Admitting I'm struggling feels like exposing a wound everyone will use against me. So I white-knuckle everything. Work, relationships, faith, mental health. Until I collapse at 2 a.m. with no one around to catch me. Cost. Isolation. Exhaustion. The loneliness of trying to be strong enough for everyone, including myself. I stare at what I've written. These aren't just bad habits. They're not personality quirks or minor flaws I need to work on. They're the wars inside, the battles I've been fighting alone while pretending I'm at peace. And the what-ifs at 2 a.m.? They're just symptoms. Smoke signals from fires I've been refusing to acknowledge. The real question isn't, what if I can't pay the bill? It's, why do I think I have to carry every burden alone? The real question isn't, what if she's mad at me? It's, why do I think someone else's anger means I'm unlovable? The real question isn't what if I fail. It's why do I think my worth is tied to my performance? I'm not just tired of sleepless nights. I'm tired of the wars that cause them. And I'm starting to realize, peacemaking isn't just about external relationships. It starts internal, with making peace between the version of me I present to the world and the version of me that's terrified and exhausted and barely holding on. I think about the conversations I've avoided, the boundaries I haven't set, the truth I haven't spoken. And I realize, every time I chose peacekeeping over peacemaking, I thought I was protecting the relationship. But I was actually protecting myself from discomfort. I'd rather carry someone else's burden than risk their rejection. I'd rather smile through harm than face confrontation. I'd rather absorb toxicity than speak truth that might cost me connection. That's not love. That's fear. And it's not working. I grab another piece of paper, draw a line down the middle. 2 columns. What I fear if I act, what I lose if I avoid. I fill it in, call Emma and apologize honestly. Fear. She'll be angry. She'll reject the apology. She'll think I'm making excuses. She'll confirm what I'm terrified of. that I'm not enough, I'm disappointing, I'm failing. Lose my integrity, my peace. The relationship itself, because silence kills slower, but just as dead as conflict. My sister. The chance to make it right. Set a boundary at work. Fear. I'll look difficult, ungrateful, not a team player. They'll question my commitment. I'll get passed over for opportunities. Lose my sanity, my health, my ability to show up well anywhere because I'm spread so thin I'm transparent. Respect for myself. Be honest with God about my anxiety. Fear. He'll be disappointed. He'll think my faith is weak. I'll prove I'm not good enough for grace. Lose real relationship, actual intimacy, the comfort that comes from being fully known and fully loved. I stare at the right column. The cost of avoidance is higher than the risk of honesty. Every single time. But I've been paying the cost at 2 a.m. for so long I thought it was just the price of being alive. My phone buzzes. Text from a friend. Coffee this week? Want to catch up? Old instinct. Yes. When works for you. Reality. I'm exhausted. Overbooked. Running on empty. I stare at the text, fingers hovering over the keyboard, and I type something new. I'd love to, but I'm honestly pretty maxed out this week. Can we aim for next week instead? Miss you. I hit send before I can second guess it. 30 seconds of chest-tightening anxiety. Then, totally understand. Next week works. Take care of yourself, blue heart. That's it. No anger, no rejection, no confirmation of my worst fear. Just understanding. I exhale. Didn't know I was holding my breath. That's peacemaking. Small scale. Baby steps. Not avoiding. Not lying. Not pretending I have capacity I don't have. Just honest. Gentle. Clear. I look at Emma's name in my contacts again. This one's harder. This one has weight. History. Real damage. I write out what I want to say. Practice it on paper first. Em, I need to apologize. I said yes to helping with Mum's birthday when I should have been honest that I didn't have the bandwidth. I left you hanging, and that wasn't fair to you. I'm really sorry. I understand if you're upset. Can we talk this week? 2 sentences. Honest. No excuses. No defending. Just truth and an invitation to repair. I don't send it yet, but I've written it. That's not nothing. I open my Bible app, go back to Matthew 5, read verse 9 again, but this time I keep reading. Context. Verse 8. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Verse 9. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Verse 10. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Pure in heart, peacemakers, persecuted for righteousness. They're connected. A progression. Pure in heart, honest, undivided, not performing one thing while hiding another. Peacemakers, active, building bridges, speaking truth in love. Persecuted, the cost, because real peace sometimes disrupts false peace. Real honesty sometimes rocks boats that need rocking. Jesus didn't avoid conflict. He named truth. He overturned tables when tables needed overturning. He said hard things to religious leaders who were keeping the peace by oppressing people. He healed on the Sabbath even though it caused controversy. He touched lepers, talked to Samaritans, ate with tax collectors, all things that disturbed the comfortable peace of the status quo. And he called it peace, not the peace of avoidance, the peace of truth and love meeting in the same room and building something real. I think about the peacemaking Jesus modeled. Confession. Father, forgive them. Even from the cross. Boundaries. Get behind me, Satan, when Peter tried to stop him from the path he knew he had to walk. Holy courage. Calling out hypocrisy. Protecting the vulnerable. Disrupting systems that harmed people in the name of keeping order. That's peacemaking. Not passive, not weak, not avoiding. Active, truth-telling, love-anchored, God-directed, and the promise. They shall be called the children of God. Not they'll earn the title. Not they'll prove they're worthy. They are called, already, present tense. God names me his child first, before I make a single peace, before I have a single hard conversation, before I set a single boundary. And because I'm his child, I get to learn the family business. Peacemaking isn't the entrance exam, it's what I do because of whose I am. I whisper it out loud, testing the weight of it. I am called. Already. Before I fix anything, before I perform, before I get it right. The words sit in my chest, warm and strange and true. I am a child of God, and peacemaking is how I sound like him. Peace grows where truth and love meet. The whisper comes again, softer than sound, clearer than my own thoughts. And I realize, every time I've chosen peacekeeping over peacemaking, I've separated truth from love. I've loved without truth, I'm fine when I'm drowning. Or I've spoken truth without love, sharp words, defensive walls, cutting people off instead of having hard conversations. But peacemaking, that's the meeting point. Truth, I'm struggling. I need help. I can't do this. Love, and I'm still here, still committed, still willing to work on this together. Truth, that hurt me. Love, and I want to repair this, not run from it. Truth, I need a boundary here. Love, because I care about this relationship enough to be honest instead of resentful. I close my eyes, hands open on the table, palms up. God, I can't do this alone. I've tried. I've been trying my whole life, and all I have to show for it is 2 a.m. sealing sessions and relationships kept at arm's length and a chest full of words I never said. Teach me to make peace like you do. Not hiding, not avoiding, not pretending, but honest, brave, anchored in you. Teach me to trust that I'm your child before I prove anything, that I'm called before I perform, that my worth isn't tied to keeping everyone comfortable. Show me how to let truth and love meet in the same sentence, in the same relationship, in the same scared, tired heart. Silence, but not empty silence, full silence, the kind that holds you instead of amplifying your fears. I sit there for a while, don't know how long. Long enough for the anxiety to settle from a roar to a whisper. Long enough to feel something I haven't felt in months. Not peace yet. Not all the way. But the possibility of peace, the road toward it. Breathe. Bless. Build. Start where you stand. The words come again, clearer this time. And I realize, that's the practice. That's the method. When the what-ifs start stacking at 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. or any hour when fear starts calling the shots, breathe, slow down, invite God's presence into the panic, bless, speak truth and love over the situation instead of catastrophizing, build. Take one small, concrete step toward peace instead of hiding from conflict. I look at my phone, at the unsent text to Emma, one small step. I read it again, add one more line, I love you, and I want to do better, and I hit send. The anxiety spikes immediately. Chest tight, heart racing, all the what-ifs queuing up. What if she doesn't respond? What if she's too hurt? What if peace within? The refrain cuts through, gentle, steady. I'm not responsible for her response. I'm responsible for my honesty. I can't control whether she forgives me. I can control whether I tell the truth with love. Peacemaking doesn't guarantee the outcome. It just guarantees I showed up. I spoke. I tried. The rest is between her and God. My phone stays silent for the next hour. I don't check it obsessively. Okay, I check it 3 times. But not 30. Progress. And when I finally go to bed that night, earlier than 2 a.m., miracle of miracles, I lie there in the dark and I don't count ceiling cracks. I whisper the verse instead. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. And I add my own prayer. Make me brave enough to be honest, strong enough to be gentle, anchored enough in you to risk the discomfort of real peace. The ceiling's still there, 17 cracks, same as always. But I'm different, not fixed, not healed completely, not anxiety-free, just awake to the truth. The cost of peacekeeping. The call to peacemaking, and the wild, terrifying, hope-filled reality that I'm God's child whether I get this right or not. The family business is peace, and I'm learning the trade. That night, same bed, same ceiling, but I'm not the same. Worry comes knocking at 1:58 a.m. Old habit, familiar visitor. Doesn't ask permission, just walks right in like it owns the place. The what-ifs start their parade. What if Emma doesn't respond? What if she blocked my number? What if I made it worse by apologizing? My chest tightens. Heart picks up speed. The old panic script loading like muscle memory. But this time I have a road. I sit up, feet on the floor. Cold tile shock that grounds me in my body instead of my spiraling thoughts. And I remember the practice. The 3 words that keep showing up like breadcrumbs on a path I'm just learning to walk. Breathe, bless, build, breathe. Slow inhale through my nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slow exhale through my mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I pair it with prayer. Short, simple. The kind Jesus himself prayed when he was in the hard places. Inhale, Lord Jesus. Exhale, have mercy. Again. Inhale, Lord Jesus. Exhale, have mercy. I'm not trying to force calm, not white-knuckling my way to peace. I'm just breathing with someone, inviting presence into the panic. 3rd round, 4th, 5th. My heart's still racing, but the rhythm changes. Less frantic, more accompanied. Like I'm not drowning alone in the dark anymore. Like there's a hand reaching down into the water, and I'm allowed to grab it. The anxiety doesn't vanish, but it's no longer the only voice in the room. Inhale, Lord Jesus. Exhale, have mercy. 6th round. 7th. My shoulders drop half an inch. My jaw unclenches slightly. My chest, still tight but breathing room now. Literal and metaphorical. I'm not fixing it. I'm just breathing through it. With him. And that's enough for right now. Bless. This part feels awkward. Foreign. Like speaking a language I'm only just learning the alphabet of. But I try. Out loud. Softly. In the 2 a.m. dark where no one can hear me but God. I speak a blessing over the thing I'm afraid of. Over Emma. Over the silence between us that feels louder than any argument. Lord, bless my sister. Bless her heart, whatever she's feeling right now, whether it's hurt or anger or disappointment or all 3. Let her feel your love even in the middle of her pain. My voice cracks a little, keeps going. Bless this situation. This mess I made by saying yes when I should have said no. Bless the repair. Let truth and love meet when we talk. Let your peace go before me. Not the fake kind, the real kind. The kind that can hold honesty and hurt and healing all at once. I think about the verse, the one that's been rewiring my brain all week. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. And I pray it over myself, over this moment. Make me a peacemaker, God. Not a peacekeeper, not someone who hides from hard things, but someone who builds bridges even when my hands are shaking. Someone who sounds like you. The blessing interrupts the curse of catastrophizing. I'm not pretending the problem isn't real. The hurt I caused is real. Emma's silence is real. My anxiety is real. But I'm inviting God into the reality instead of spiraling through worst-case scenarios alone. I bless the hard conversation I'm afraid of. Bless the vulnerability of apologizing. Bless the uncertainty of not knowing how she'll respond. And something shifts. Small. Tectonic. A hairline crack in the fortress of fear. Because blessing is the opposite of the what-if spiral. What-ifs imagine the worst. Blessing hopes for redemption. What-ifs assume I'm alone in the outcome. Blessing remembers God's in the room. What-ifs rehearse catastrophe. Blessing speaks truth. God can handle this, even if I can't. I bless the bill that's due Thursday. Provide, Lord. You've done it before. I trust you'll do it again. And if the provision looks different than I expect, give me eyes to see it. I bless the work stress I've been carrying. Let me set boundaries that honor you and honor me. Let me stop trying to be God in my own life, omnipresent, omnipotent, never needing help. I'm human. That's okay. That's how you made me. I bless my own anxiety. And that one feels strange, but I do it anyway. This anxiety, it's been trying to protect me, trying to keep me safe by controlling everything. But it can't, and it's exhausting us both. So I bless it, and I release it. God, you've got this. I don't have to. My voice goes quiet. The room holds the blessing like an offering. And I feel it, faint but real, that whisper again. You carry my name into the room, make peace like I do. I am his child, not because I earned it, not because I performed well enough, but because he calls me his. And children sound like their father. So when I bless instead of curse, when I hope instead of catastrophize, when I invite God into the 2 a.m. spiral instead of white-knuckling alone, I'm sounding like him. I'm making peace the way he does. Build one small step, that's all. Not the whole solution, not the 10-year plan, just the next faithful move. I grab my phone, open my notes app. The hard conversation with Emma, I've already sent the apology text. That was the first build. Now I need the second. I write, this week, if Emma responds, schedule a phone call. If she doesn't respond by Friday, send a follow-up. No pressure, just gentle persistence. Peace doesn't rush, but it doesn't quit either. The work boundary I need to set, I write that down too. Draft email to boss about workload. Not complaining, just honest. I want to do my best work, and I'm at capacity. Can we talk about priorities? Send by Wednesday. The budget thing, the bill I've been avoiding. Tomorrow morning, first thing, open the bank app. Look at the actual numbers instead of imagining them. Make a plan, even if the plan is just pay half now, half next week. Action beats avoidance. Small steps, concrete, doable. Not fixing everything at once, just building one brick at a time. Because peacemaking isn't a feeling, it's a practice. It's showing up even when I'm scared, speaking even when my voice shakes, moving forward even when I can't see the whole path. I look at what I've written. 3 action steps, 3 ways to build peace instead of just hoping it appears. And then I do one more thing, the thing that feels most vulnerable. I text my friend Sarah, the one who asked to grab coffee, and I said I was maxed out. Hey, I know I said I'm overwhelmed this week, still true, but can I ask you to pray for me? Having some 2 a.m. anxiety stuff, learning to let people in instead of white-knuckling alone. Thank you for being safe. I hit send before I can talk myself out of it. 30 seconds of chest tightening. The old script. What if she thinks you're weak? What if she's annoyed? What if? My phone buzzes. Of course. Praying right now. Proud of you for asking. You're not alone. Tears sting my eyes. Unexpected. I blink them back. You're not alone. 4 words, but they land like a lifeboat in open water. I'm not alone. God's with me. Sarah's praying. Emma might still be processing, but I told the truth. The work conversation hasn't happened yet, but the email's drafted. I'm not alone, and I'm not stuck. I'm building. One scared, faithful step at a time. I lie back down. Same bed, same 17 ceiling cracks, but everything's different. The anxiety's still there. Low hum instead of siren, background static instead of overwhelming noise. And I realize something that nearly breaks me open. God was here the whole time. All those nights I stared at the ceiling, begging for peace to descend like some magical force field that would make the what-ifs stop. He was here. Not far away, waiting for me to be spiritual enough to reach him, not disappointed in my anxiety, wishing I had stronger faith. Here, in the 2 a.m. dark, in the kitchen at 3:17, in the scared silence after I hit send on the apology text. Here. And peace wasn't something that was going to fall from the sky fully formed. It was something I learned to make. With him, like him, because of him. Breathe with Jesus in the panic. Bless the situation instead of cursing it with what-ifs. Build one small step even when my hands shake. That's peacemaking. And I'm his child, called, claimed, named, whether I do it perfectly or not. I whisper the verse in the dark. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. And this time, I hear it differently. Not a command, not a performance standard, an identity. I am called. Already. And peacemaking is just me learning to sound like my father. The memories come back, but different now. Reframed. I think about that night at 8 years old, covers over my head, parents fighting in the next room. I thought God wasn't there, but he was, holding me in the dark, teaching me I could survive hard things, planting seeds of empathy that would grow into the ability to sit with other people's pain without fixing it. He was preserving me, even then. I think about the friendship I lost at 15, the silence that felt like abandonment. I thought I'd done something unforgivable. But maybe she was just drowning in her own stuff. Her parents' divorce, I found out later, and didn't have capacity for anyone else's needs. It wasn't about me. And God used that loss to teach me that my worth isn't determined by whether people stay, that I can survive being misunderstood, that sometimes the kindest thing is to let someone go instead of forcing connection. He was teaching me, even then, the roommate conflict at 22. I thought I failed by leaving instead of fighting. But maybe leaving was the right choice. Maybe some seasons are just about survival, not resolution. And I met my best friends in the next place I lived. The ones who taught me what healthy conflict actually looks like. God was guiding me, even through the mess, the work tension last year. I thought I was weak for not confronting it sooner, but I'm confronting it now. Learning boundaries at 29 is better than never learning them at all. And the 2 a.m. anxiety, it brought me here, to this practice, this verse, this identity shift. God was using it, even the pain. I look back over the timeline of my life and I see it now, his fingerprints everywhere. Not controlling every outcome, not preventing every hurt, but present, preserving, preparing. Every avoidance taught me the cost of peacekeeping. Every spiral taught me I can't white-knuckle my way to peace. Every ceiling-staring night taught me I need him. And all of it was leading here, to this moment, this realization. I am not a mistake. My anxiety doesn't disqualify me. My failures don't erase my calling. I am a child of God, and he's been teaching me to sound like him all along. I just didn't have the language for it until now. Gratitude rises. Unexpected. Overwhelming. Not gratitude for the pain. I'm not there yet, maybe never will be. But gratitude in the pain. Gratitude that I wasn't alone in it even when I felt alone. Gratitude that God didn't waste a single sleepless night, a single anxious spiral, a single moment I thought I was failing. He was building something in me, resilience, empathy, honesty, the capacity to sit in hard places without running, the very things that make a peacemaker. I think about the Beatitudes again, the whole progression. Blessed are the poor in spirit, the ones who know they need God. Check, I'm there. Blessed are they that mourn, the ones who feel deeply, who grieve, who don't pretend everything's fine. Check, I've mourned losses I didn't know how to name. Blessed are the meek, the ones who aren't performing strength, who know their weakness, who let God be God. Learning, still learning. Blessed are the peacemakers, the ones who've been through enough conflict to know the cost, enough pain to know the value, enough failure to know they can't do it alone. Me, becoming me, and the promise, they shall be called the children of God, not they'll become worthy. They are called, present tense, already true. I whisper it like a worship song. I am called, I am his, I am a peacemaker in training, and he's not disappointed in how long it's taking me to learn. Tears come, quiet, grateful, the kind that release pressure instead of building it. I let them fall, and I pray, not a polished prayer, just an honest one. Thank you for not giving up on me when I gave up on myself. Thank you for being in the 2 a.m. rooms I thought I was alone in. Thank you for using every anxious night to teach me I need you. Thank you for calling me your child before I got my act together. Thank you for making peacemaking a practice, not a performance. Thank you for meeting me here, messy, scared, still learning. Make me sound like you, God, in the hard conversations, in the 2 a.m. spirals, in every moment I want to hide but choose to build instead. Let me carry your name into every room, not perfectly, just faithfully. The tears stop. The gratitude settles. The room holds me like a benediction. And the verse becomes more than words on a screen. It becomes an anthem. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. I am blessed, not because I have it together, but because I'm his. I am a peacemaker, not because I'm good at it yet, but because I'm learning the family business. I am called, already, always, child of God, and that changes everything. I close my eyes. 2:47 a.m. Still early, still dark, but I'm not afraid of the dark anymore. because I know who's in it with me. Sleep comes. Not perfect, not 8 hours, but real. And when I wake up in the morning, my phone has a text. Emma, thank you for apologizing. I was hurt. But I love you too. Let's talk this week. My chest unlocks. I exhale a breath I didn't know I was holding. Peace didn't mean no conflict. It meant walking through the conflict with truth and love holding hands. It meant I showed up. She showed up. And God was in the room with us both. I screenshot her text. Not to show anyone, just to remember. This is what peacemaking looks like. Scared, honest, faithful, and worth it. Every time. 3 nights later, I'm in the same bed, staring at the same ceiling. But the staring feels different now. Not desperate. Not drowning. Just awake. Processing. Watching my own transformation like I'm both participant and witness. Emma and I talked. 2 hours on the phone, the kind of conversation I've avoided my entire life. The kind where you say the hard things and feel the discomfort and don't hang up when it gets awkward. I told her the truth. I said yes because I was afraid of disappointing you. And then I disappointed you anyway by ghosting. I'm learning that my people-pleasing actually hurts people more than honesty does. She cried. I cried. We laughed at how bad we both are at conflict. And then she said something that cracked me open. I just wanted to know you cared. The party planning wasn't the point. I just needed to know I mattered to you. All that anxiety, all those 2 a.m. what-ifs, all that avoidance, and what she needed was the exact thing I was afraid to give. Honesty. Presence. The vulnerable truth that I was overwhelmed and needed help. Peacemaking didn't destroy the relationship. It saved it. We're planning Mum's party together now, but this time I told her my realistic capacity. I can help with the guest list and the food. I can't handle decorations and logistics. Can we divide and conquer? She said yes. Easy. Like boundaries aren't the enemy of love. They're the structure that lets love breathe. Who knew? I'm lying here in the quiet dark and I'm watching my life with new eyes. The same life, same apartment, same job, same 17 ceiling cracks. But I'm seeing it differently now. Like someone adjusted the lens and everything came into focus. That morning at the kitchen table, when I excavated my pattern of peacekeeping and saw the generational cost, that wasn't random. That was God showing me what I'd inherited, so I could choose something different. The moment I sent the apology to Emma, hands shaking, chest tight, terrified, that was peacemaking in real time. Scared but faithful. And God met me in it. The practice, breathe, bless, build, that didn't come from me. I'm not that wise. That was Him teaching me the family business in language I could understand at 2 a.m. Every piece of this journey, I'm realizing, was God preserving something in me I didn't know needed preserving. My capacity for honesty. He protected that even when I buried it under people-pleasing. My desire for real peace. He kept that alive even when I settled for the fake version. My ability to feel deeply. He didn't let me numb that even when numbness felt safer. He was building a peacemaker. In the dark. In the pain. In the nights I thought I was losing my mind. He was teaching me to sound like Him. I think about the younger version of me. 8 years old under the covers, drowning out my parents fighting with a Walkman turned up too loud. I want to go back and tell her, you're not responsible for their peace. You're just a kid. And God sees you hiding, and He's not mad. He's holding you. This night won't break you. It's building something in you that'll help other people 30 years from now. I think about 15-year-old me, crying in the shower over a friendship that ended without explanation. I want to tell her, this isn't about your worth. She's fighting battles you can't see. And this loss? It's teaching you that you can survive being misunderstood. That's a gift. You'll need that later. I think about 22-year-old me, packing boxes and moving out instead of having the hard conversation. I want to tell her, you're not failing, you're surviving. And the next place you land, you're going to meet people who'll teach you what you're learning right now. That healthy conflict is possible. That peace and honesty can coexist. Keep going. I think about last year me, carrying work resentment in my shoulders and my jaw and my 2 a.m. ceiling sessions. I want to tell her, this anxiety is trying to get your attention. It's not the enemy. It's a messenger. And the message is, you can't keep living like this. Change is coming. God's about to teach you something that'll change everything. And I realize, I don't have to go back and tell them anything. Because they all lived through it, survived it, made it here, to this moment, this bed, this revelation. Every version of me that felt alone was actually accompanied. Every night I thought God was absent, he was present. Every failure I thought disqualified me was actually qualifying me, teaching me empathy, resilience, the hard-won wisdom that you can't make peace from a place of pretending. God was there, the whole time. Not preventing the pain, because pain is part of being human, and he made me human on purpose, but preserving me through it, guiding the wreckage toward redemption, using every broken piece to build something I couldn't have built on my own. A peacemaker, not perfect, not polished, not pretending, but real, honest, learning to sound like my father. I grab my journal from the nightstand, the one I've been filling with anxious scribbles and half prayers and desperate late-night thoughts. I flip back through the pages, read my own handwriting from 2 weeks ago. I don't know how to make peace. I only know how to hide from the war in my head. And then I write today's date, and I write, I'm learning. Slowly, scared, but learning. Peace isn't the absence of conflict. It's God's presence in the middle of it. I thought I needed to be fixed before I could be a peacemaker, but God's been making me a peacemaker by letting me be broken first. Every hard conversation I've had this week, with Emma, with my boss, yes, I sent that email, with myself, with God, every single one has been practice. Repetitions in the family business. And I'm starting to understand, the children of God don't make peace because they're strong enough. They make peace because they know their Father, and he's the original peacemaker. He made peace between humanity and himself, not by avoiding the conflict, but by walking straight into it. The cross wasn't peacekeeping, it was peacemaking. Truth and love meeting in blood and nails and resurrection. If that's my Father, then that's my inheritance. Not the peace of avoidance, the peace of presence. The peace that can hold suffering and hope in the same wounded hand. I put the pen down, stare at what I wrote, and I feel it, warm, certain, unshakable. I am a child of God, not because I performed well this week, not because I had good conversations or set healthy boundaries or finally got some sleep. I am a child of God because he calls me his child. And everything else, the peacemaking, the practice, the progress, flows from that identity, not toward it. My phone buzzes. Sarah, responding to a text I sent earlier. How'd the conversation with your boss go? I smile. Type back, awkward but good. Told him I'm at capacity. He actually appreciated the honesty. We're redistributing some projects. I feel like I can breathe again. 3 dots. Then, so proud of you. This is huge. It is huge. Not because the outcome was perfect. It wasn't. There's still tension, still figuring out the details. But because I showed up, spoke truth, set a boundary, did the thing that terrified me. And the world didn't end. My boss didn't fire me. He didn't think less of me. He actually respected the honesty. Turns out people aren't mind readers. And when you're honest about your limits, they can work with that. But when you pretend you're fine until you're drowning, nobody wins. Peacemaking in practice. I text Sarah back, learning from the best peacemaker, trying to sound like my father. Her response is immediate. He's proud of you too. I can feel it. And I believe her. I think about the bill I was terrified of, the one that's been fuel for a month of what-ifs. I looked at the numbers, actually opened the app and looked instead of avoiding. It wasn't as bad as I'd imagined. Still tight, still requires sacrifice, but not impossible. And I did something new. I asked for help, called my brother. Voice shaking. Hey, I'm in a tight spot financially this month. Can I borrow $200? I'll pay you back by the 15th. He said yes. No judgment, no lecture, just, of course, I've been there. Let me Venmo you. And I cried after we hung up. Because I've spent 29 years thinking asking for help meant admitting defeat. But it doesn't. It means admitting I'm human, that I'm not God, that I was built for community, not isolation. Peacemaking with myself, with my pride, with the lie that I have to have it all together. The bills paid, my chest is lighter, and I learned something I'll carry forever. Vulnerability isn't weakness. It's peacemaking with reality. I lie back on my pillow, eyes open, ceiling cracks visible in the dim light from the hallway. 17 cracks, I know them all, but they don't feel like prison bars anymore. They feel like old friends, witnesses to the transformation happening in this room, this bed, this life. I whisper the verse, the one that's been rewiring my brain for 2 weeks. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Matthew 5:9. And I add my own prayer, my own declaration. I am called, not because I earned it, not because I'm good at this yet, but because you say so, and your word is more true than my doubt. I am a child of God, and peacemaking is my inheritance, the family business, the way I sound like you. Thank you for every hard thing that brought me here. Thank you for not wasting my pain. Thank you for building a peacemaker out of someone who only knew how to keep the peace by hiding. Keep teaching me. I'm a slow learner, but I'm showing up. Keep making me sound like you. The room is quiet. The fridge hums in the kitchen. The router blinks its blue rhythm. And I feel it. Finally, fully, undeniably. Peace within. Not the absence of anxiety. Not the end of hard things. But the presence of God in the middle of it all. The knowledge that I'm not alone. Not responsible for outcomes I can't control. Not defined by my performance. I am his child, and he's teaching me to make peace the way he does, by showing up, speaking truth, anchoring in love, and trusting him with the rest. I close my eyes. Sleep comes easier now, and in the space between waking and dreaming, I hear that whisper one more time, clearer than it's ever been. You carry my name into the room, make peace like I do, and I whisper back, I will. Scared and imperfect and still learning. But I will. Because I'm not just trying to sleep through the night anymore. I'm becoming who he called me to be. A peacemaker. A child of God. And that's worth every ceiling crack, every 2 a.m. spiral, every hard conversation I'll ever have. I am called, and that changes everything. Morning comes different now. Not easier. Not without the old familiar tug of anxiety at the edges. But different. I wake up at 6:47 a.m. No alarm, just natural light and the awareness that I actually slept. Real sleep. The kind where you wake up and realize hours passed without your permission, without your hypervigilance guarding every minute. I lie there for a moment. Same bed, same ceiling, same 17 cracks. But I'm awake to something I wasn't awake to before. The world looks ordinary. Morning light slanting through the blinds, coffee calling from the kitchen, the day ahead with its normal demands and small stresses. But I'm seeing it with new eyes, like someone handed me glasses I didn't know I needed, and suddenly everything has edges and clarity and purpose. I am a peacemaker, not as a goal I'm striving toward, not as a role I'm auditioning for, as an identity I'm already living into. Child of God, called, named, claimed, and the ordinary morning in front of me, that's my mission field. I make coffee. The ritual grounds me. Filter, grounds, water, button. The drip and hiss and smell that signals. You're awake, you're here, you're alive. I sit at the kitchen table, same table where I had my breakdown 2 weeks ago, same table where I wrote out my inner wars and saw the pattern of peacekeeping that nearly broke me. My phone buzzes. Text from a friend, Jessica, someone I haven't talked to in months. Hey, weird question. Can I call you? Going through something and your name keeps coming to mind. Old me would have panicked. What if I don't know what to say? What if I can't fix it? What if I let her down? New me, or maybe just more aware me, pauses, breathes, breathe, bless, build. I text back, of course, I'm free now if you want to call. 30 seconds later, my phone rings. I don't even know why I'm calling you, Jessica says, voice tight. I feel like I'm losing my mind. I can't sleep. I can't turn my brain off. And everyone keeps telling me to just pray about it or have more faith or whatever, and I am praying, but it's not working, and I feel like I'm failing at being a Christian because I can't just be at peace. My chest tightens. Not with anxiety this time. With recognition. I know this voice. I know this spiral. I've lived in this exact room. Jess, I say quietly, you're not failing. You're human. And anxiety doesn't mean you don't have faith. It means you're carrying something too heavy alone. Silence on the other end. Then a shaky exhale. I'm so tired, she whispers. I know, me too, or I was. I'm learning a different way. What do you mean? And I tell her. Not the whole story, we don't have 3 hours, but enough. I tell her about the ceiling cracks I know by heart, about the what-ifs that stack at 2 a.m., about thinking I had to white-knuckle my way to peace like it's something you earn through perfect faith. I tell her about the verse that's been rewiring me. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. I thought peace was something I was supposed to find or feel or force myself into, I say. But it's not. It's something we make, with God, like God, because we're His kids. And we don't do it by pretending we're fine, we do it by being honest, by inviting Him into the mess. How? Her voice cracks. How do you do that at 2 a.m. when your brain won't stop? I smile, because 2 weeks ago, I was asking the same question. 3 steps, I say. Breathe with Him. Bless the situation instead of catastrophizing. Build one small step even when your hands are shaking. I walk her through it, right there on the phone. Breathe, slow, intentional, with a short prayer. I use, Lord Jesus, have mercy. You can use whatever feels true. Bless, speak truth and love over whatever you're afraid of. Out loud if you can. It interrupts the what-if spiral. Build. Take one concrete action, one small step toward peace. Text the person you're worried about. Open the budget app you've been avoiding. Schedule the conversation you're dreading. Just one step. She's quiet for a long moment. Then, that's really practical. I laugh. Yeah, turns out God's pretty practical. He made us with bodies and brains that need actual tools, not just vague encouragement to try harder. Can I... She hesitates. Can I text you tonight? If I try this and it feels weird or I don't know if I'm doing it right. Old me would have felt the weight of that, the responsibility, the pressure, the fear of letting her down. New me knows, I'm not her savior. I'm just another person learning the family business. Yes, I say, but Jess, I'm not the expert here. I'm just a few steps ahead of you on the same path. We're learning together, and God's the one teaching both of us. I know, she says, but you get it. And that helps. We hang up a few minutes later. I sit at the table with my cooling coffee, and I realize this is it. This is what it looks like. Mission clarity, wounded healer identity. I'm not healed from anxiety, not fixed, not past the struggle. But I'm in the struggle with tools now, with a practice, with a father who's teaching me the family business. And because I've been in the 2 a.m. dark, I can sit with Jessica in hers without trying to fix her or minimize her pain or shame her for not having enough faith. I can just be present, honest, a fellow child learning to sound like our father. This is peacemaking, not in some grand global sense, in the small sacred sense of one person saying to another, you're not alone, I've been there, and there's a road through this. The day unfolds, normal, ordinary, nothing Instagram-worthy. I go to work, have the follow-up conversation with my boss about workload redistribution. It's still awkward, boundaries always are at first, but we're figuring it out. I text Emma about Mom's party. She sends me a photo of centerpiece options. I pick one without overthinking it. She sends back a heart emoji. Small things, ordinary things. But I'm doing them differently now. I'm present instead of performing. I'm honest instead of hiding. I'm building peace in real time. In work conversations, family texts, moments when the old anxiety whispers what if, and I whisper back, God's got this. Lunchtime. I'm sitting in my car eating a sandwich when my phone buzzes. Jessica. Tried the breathing thing during a meeting when I felt the panic start. It helped. Didn't fix it, but helped. Thank you. I smile, text back, that's the whole thing. It doesn't fix it. It just reminds you you're not alone in it. Proud of you. 3 dots. Then, can I ask you something? How do you know if you're doing it right? Like peacemaking. How do you know you're actually making peace and not just, I don't know, still hiding in a different way? I stare at her question. It's a good question. The kind that requires honesty I'm still learning to give. I type slowly. I think you know you're peacemaking instead of peacekeeping when it costs you something but builds something. Peacekeeping is comfortable. Smile, agree, avoid. Peacemaking is uncomfortable. Truth, boundaries, showing up even when you're scared. But one protects you from connection. The other builds it. Peacekeeping leaves you alone at 2 a.m. Peacemaking invites people into the mess with you. God first, then others. If you're being more honest, more vulnerable, more real, even when it's hard, that's probably peacemaking. Send. I sit there in my car, sandwich forgotten, and I realize I just taught myself something by teaching her. This is how we learn the family business. Not in isolation. Not by getting it perfect first. By doing it scared. By helping each other. By being a few steps ahead on the path and turning around to say, here's what I'm learning. Wounded healers. All of us. That night, I'm at the grocery store. Ordinary errand. Milk, eggs, the usual. I'm in the checkout line when I see her. A woman probably 10 years older than me, staring at her phone with tears running down her face. She's trying to hide it, swiping at her cheeks with the back of her hand, but her shoulders are shaking. Old me would have looked away, minded my business, assumed she wanted privacy, but something in me, something new, something I'm still learning to recognize as Holy Spirit, nudges. You carry my name into the room. I step out of line, walk over. Hey, I say softly. I don't want to intrude, but are you okay? Can I help with anything? She looks up, startled, embarrassed. Oh, I'm fine, sorry. Just a hard day. I nod. I get those. A lot, actually. She laughs, small, watery. Yeah. I pause. Then, I know we're strangers and this is weird, but can I pray for you? Right here, just quick. Her eyes widen, then fill again. You'd do that? If you want me to, she nods. Can't seem to speak. So I do it. Right there in the grocery store checkout line. Quiet, simple, not performative. God, I don't know what she's carrying, but you do. Meet her in it. Remind her she's not alone. Give her your peace, the real kind, not the fake kind, and help her take the next step, even if it's scared. Amen. When I open my eyes, she's crying harder, but smiling. Thank you, she whispers. I really needed that. Me too, I say, and I mean it, because every time I make peace for someone else, I'm reminded, I'm not doing this alone either. We're all children, learning the family business together. I drive home with groceries in the trunk and something light in my chest. Not because I did something heroic, I didn't. I just showed up, saw someone hurting, offered the same thing God's been offering me, presence. That's peacemaking. Not grand, not perfect, just faithful, just present, just willing to carry his name into ordinary moments and let him use it however he wants. That night, same bed, same ceiling, I lie awake, but not anxious, just reflective. I think about the past 2 weeks, the journey from 2 a.m. spiral to here. I'm not cured. The anxiety didn't vanish. I'll probably have hard nights again, but I have a road now. I have a practice, I have an identity that's stronger than my struggle. I am a child of God, and peacemaking isn't something I do to earn that. It's something I do because of that. I grab my journal, write today's entry. 2 weeks ago, I thought peace was something I'd never have, that it was for people with stronger faith, better coping skills, easier lives. But I'm learning. Peace isn't the absence of struggle. It's the presence of God in the middle of it. And I'm learning to make peace the way he does, by showing up honestly instead of hiding perfectly, by inviting people into the mess instead of pretending there isn't one, by breathing with him, blessing the hard things, and building one scared step at a time. I helped Jessica today, prayed for a stranger in the grocery store, had a decent day at work, texted my sister about party planning without spiraling. Ordinary things, but I'm doing them as a peacemaker now, as a child of God learning the family business, and that makes ordinary feel sacred. I close the journal, set it on the nightstand, and I pray, not desperate, not begging, just talking to my Father. Thank you for not giving up on me when I was stuck in the spiral. Thank you for teaching me I'm your child first, peacemaker second. Thank you for letting me help Jessica and that woman today, not because I'm an expert, but because I've been in the valley and I know the road out. Keep using me, keep teaching me, keep making me sound like you. And when I forget, when I slip back into peacekeeping or spiraling or pretending, remind me. I am called, already, always your child, and that's enough. Peace within. The refrain whispers through me one last time. Not a wish, not a hope. A reality, I have peace. Not because my circumstances are perfect, but because my Father is present. And I'm learning to make peace the way He does. One breath, one blessing, one build at a time. I close my eyes, sleep comes easy, and somewhere in the space between waking and dreaming I hear it. Well done, child. You're learning to sound like me. I smile in the dark, because I am. Slowly, imperfectly, faithfully. I am a peacemaker, a child of God, and tomorrow I'll do it again. 3 weeks in, and I'm learning that transformation doesn't happen in a moment. It happens in the 1,000 small decisions you make after the moment. The decision to breathe when you want to spiral. The decision to bless when you want to catastrophize. The decision to build when you want to hide. I'm sitting at my kitchen table on a Saturday morning. Sunlight streaming through the window, coffee steaming in my favorite mug, the kind of peaceful scene that would have felt impossible a month ago. My phone buzzes. Jessica. Had my first real peacemaking moment last night. Called my mum instead of avoiding her. We both cried. It was messy, but it was real. Thank you for showing me this is possible. I read it twice. Feel something warm spread through my chest. This is it. This is the thing I didn't know I was being prepared for. Not just my own healing, my own peace, but the chance to help someone else find theirs. Wounded healer. The phrase keeps showing up in my prayers, my thoughts, my quiet moments with God. It used to sound like a contradiction. How can you heal anyone when you're still wounded yourself? But now I'm understanding, the wound is the qualification. Because I've been in the 2 a.m. dark, I can hold space for Jessica's darkness without trying to fix it or rush it or shame it. Because I've learned the practice, I can hand her the tools, breathe, bless, build. Because I know the verse, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. I can remind her she's already called, already claimed, already His. The wound doesn't disqualify me, it equips me. I text Jessica back. So proud of you. Messy and real is exactly what peacemaking looks like. Keep going. You're learning to sound like your father. Then I set my phone down and I sit with what's happening. A month ago I was drowning, counting ceiling cracks, white-knuckling through sleepless nights, convinced I was failing at faith because I couldn't manufacture peace out of willpower. Now, I'm still figuring it out. Still learning. Still having moments where the anxiety whispers and I have to choose the practice over the panic. But I'm not drowning anymore. I'm building peace in my relationship with Emma. We're planning Mum's party together, and yesterday we laughed about how bad we both used to be at honesty. Building peace at work. My boss and I have a standing check-in now about workload, and it's awkward, but it's working. Building peace with myself. I'm learning that rest isn't lazy and boundaries aren't selfish and asking for help isn't failure. And somehow, in the middle of building my own peace, I'm helping others build theirs. That's the family business, not isolation. Not perfection. Not waiting until you're healed to help anyone else. Just learning together. Growing together. Carrying God's name into ordinary moments and watching Him make them sacred. Sunday morning. I'm at church for the first time in 6 weeks. I'd been avoiding it. Too tired, too anxious, too afraid someone would ask, "How are you?" And I'd either have to lie or fall apart. But today, I go. Not because I feel perfect, because I feel honest. And I'm learning that God prefers honest over perfect every single time. The service is normal, worship songs I know by heart, announcements about upcoming events, a sermon about the Beatitudes, and when the pastor gets to Matthew 5:9, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God," I feel it. That deep, settled knowing. This isn't just a verse I read, it's an identity I'm living. After service, a woman approaches me. I know her vaguely. We've nodded hello a few times, never had a real conversation. "Hey," she says, hesitant. "This is random, but you seem different lately." Lighter, maybe? I don't know. I'm going through something right now and I feel like I'm supposed to talk to you about it. My first instinct is panic. What if I say the wrong thing? What if I can't help? But then the practice kicks in. Breathe. I take a slow breath. Invite God into this moment I didn't plan for. Bless. I silently bless her, whatever she's carrying, this conversation we're about to have. Build. I take the step even though I'm nervous. Of course, I say. Want to grab coffee this week? Her shoulders drop, visible relief. Yes, thank you. We exchange numbers, make a plan. And as I walk to my car, I realize this is becoming normal, not forced, not performative, just who I'm becoming. A person who sees someone hurting and doesn't look away. A person who's been in the valley and knows the road out. A person learning to sound like her father, a peacemaker. That afternoon, I'm cleaning my apartment. Laundry, dishes, the mindless tasks that give your brain space to process. And I'm thinking about the journey. How it started with a 2 a.m. breakdown and a ceiling I knew too well. How it moved through excavation, seeing the pattern of peacekeeping that almost broke me. How it deepened in confrontation, naming the inner wars, learning the difference between keeping peace and making it. How it shifted in practice. Breathe, bless, build becoming the road through the spiral. And how it's landing here, in ordinary life, with new eyes. I'm not living some radically different existence. Same apartment, same job, same bills to pay. But I'm living it as someone different, as a child of God who knows her name, as a peacemaker learning the family business, as someone who doesn't have to pretend anymore. I think about what I'd tell someone just starting this journey. Someone staring at their ceiling at 2 a.m. right now, convinced peace is for everyone but them. I'd tell them, you're not broken, you're human. And anxiety doesn't mean you lack faith, it means you're carrying something too heavy alone. I'd tell them, peace isn't something you find, it's something you make. With God, like God, because you're his child. I'd tell them, the practice is simple, breathe with him. Bless the situation, build one step, repeat until it becomes rhythm instead of effort. I'd tell them, you don't have to wait until you're healed to help someone else. Your wound is your qualification. Your struggle is your sermon. Your journey is your invitation to others. I've been there. There's a road. Walk it with me. And I'd tell them the verse that changed everything. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Matthew 5:9. Not blessed are the ones who have it together. Not blessed are the ones who never struggle. Blessed are the peacemakers, the ones who show up scared and build anyway. The ones who've been in conflict and choose connection. The ones who know they can't do it alone and invite God into every 2 a.m. room. Those are the ones he calls his children, not because they're perfect, because they're learning to sound like him. Monday morning, I'm back at work. Normal day. Except Jessica texts during lunch. I told my roommate about the breathe, bless, build thing. She wants to try it. Is that okay? Can I share what you taught me? I stare at the text, and I realize this is how it spreads. Not through me being perfect or having all the answers. Through me being faithful with what I've been given. I learned the practice. I'm living it imperfectly. And Jessica's watching. Learning. Passing it on. And her roommate will learn, and maybe she'll pass it on. The family business multiplies. One peacemaker teaching another. One child helping another child learn to sound like their father. I text back, yes. Share it. It's not mine. It's God's. He gave it to me so I could give it to others. That's how this works. 3 dots. Then, I never thought of faith like that. Like something you pass on by living it, not just talking about it. I smile. Type, me neither. But I'm learning. We become what we practice. And if we practice peacemaking, we become peacemakers. If we practice it together, we become a family. Send. And I sit there at my desk, leftover salad forgotten, and I feel it. Mission clarity. This is what I'm here for. Not to have all the answers, not to be perfectly healed, but to be a few steps ahead on the path and turn around to say, here's what I'm learning. Walk with me. To be honest about the struggle so others know they're not alone in theirs. To practice peacemaking in real time, at work, at home, in the grocery store, at church, so people can see it's possible. To carry God's name into ordinary moments and trust Him to make them extraordinary, that's the mission. Not grand, not complicated, just faithful, just present, just willing. That night, I meet with the woman from church. Her name's Michelle. We're at a coffee shop, and she's telling me about her teenage daughter who won't talk to her marriage that feels like roommates instead of partners, her job that's sucking her dry. And I just listen. I don't fix. I don't minimize. I don't offer platitudes. I just sit with her in the mess and say, that sounds really hard. I'm sorry you're carrying that alone. She cries. Right there in the coffee shop, tears running down into her latte. And then she says, everyone at church acts like they have it together. Like faith means you don't struggle. And I've been so afraid to admit I'm drowning because what if that means I'm failing at being a Christian? My chest tightens, because I know that fear intimately. Michelle, I say gently, faith doesn't mean you don't struggle. It means you don't struggle alone. And the pretending, that's not faith. That's just exhausting. She looks up. So what do I do? And I tell her, the same thing God's been teaching me. You make peace. One breath, one blessing, one step at a time. I walk her through it, the practice, the verse, the identity shift from peacekeeping to peacemaking. And I watch something shift in her eyes, the same shift I felt 3 weeks ago in my own kitchen. Hope. Not the fragile kind that breaks at the first sign of trouble. The solid kind. The kind anchored in, I am a child of God, and He's teaching me the family business. We talk for 2 hours. She takes notes in her phone, asks questions, cries a few more times, and when we finally leave, she hugs me, tight, grateful. Thank you, she whispers. I feel like I can breathe again. Me too, I say. Every time I share this, I remember it's true for me too. Because that's the thing about being a wounded healer. You can't give away what you haven't received. But when you have received it, when you've walked the valley and learned the practice and discovered your identity, you can't help but give it away. It overflows. That's peacemaking, not hoarding peace for yourself, making it, multiplying it, inviting others into the practice. I drive home that night with worship music playing and tears on my face. Not sad tears, grateful ones, because a month ago, I thought I was falling apart. But God was putting me back together. Not into who I used to be, but into who He's always been calling me to be. A peacemaker, someone who's been in the dark and can hold space for others in theirs. Someone who knows the practice and can hand others the tools. Someone who carries His name into rooms and watches Him work. I am not perfect. I am not healed completely. I will have hard days again. But I know who I am now. Child of God. Called. Claimed. Peacemaker. And that identity is stronger than any anxiety, any spiral, any 2 a.m. ceiling session. When I get home, I sit at my kitchen table, the place where this whole journey shifted, and I write one more journal entry. Dear younger me, the one staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m., convinced peace is for everyone but you. You're not broken, you're becoming. Every sleepless night is teaching you empathy. Every what-if spiral is showing you what you can't carry alone. Every moment you think you're failing is actually God preparing you for the family business. You're going to learn that peace isn't something you find, it's something you make. You're going to discover you're a child of God before you're anything else. And that changes everything. You're going to help people, not because you have it all together, but because you've been in the valley and you know the road out. Keep going, keep breathing, keep showing up. You're becoming a peacemaker, and that's exactly who you were created to be. Love a future you, who's still learning, still growing, still His. I close the journal, set it aside, and I pray, the kind of prayer that feels like worship. God, thank you for not wasting my pain, for using my anxiety to teach me dependence, for taking my peacekeeping tendency and transforming it into peacemaking purpose, for calling me your child before I did anything to deserve it. Use me, however you want, wherever you want. I'm not an expert, I'm just your kid learning the family business, but I'm willing. Keep teaching me to sound like you. In the hard conversations, in the ordinary moments, in every space where someone needs to know they're not alone. I'm yours. Make me a peacemaker, not for my glory, for yours. In Jesus' name, who made peace between us and you by walking straight into the conflict instead of avoiding it. Amen. I sit in the quiet for a long moment. Then I look at my phone. At the lock screen I haven't changed in 3 weeks. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Matthew 5:9. And I whisper it one more time, not as a verse I'm trying to memorize, but as an identity I'm living. I am called. I am His. I am a peacemaker. Peace within, not the absence of struggle. The presence of God in the middle of it. The knowledge that I'm not alone. Not responsible for what I can't control. Not defined by my performance. I am His child, and I'm learning to make peace the way He does. The next morning, I wake up at 7:02 a.m. Natural light. No alarm. And I lie there for just a moment. Not anxious, not panicked, just awake. Same bed, same ceiling, same 17 cracks, but I'm not counting them anymore. I'm not staring at them wondering when sleep will come or peace will arrive or anxiety will finally release its grip. I'm just here, present, awake to the gift of a new day. I grab my phone. 3 texts waiting. Jessica, day 4 of the practice. Still hard, but it's working. Thank you. Michelle, talked to my daughter last night. Really talked. Used the breathe, bless, build thing before the conversation. It helped. I think we're going to be okay. The woman from the grocery store. She got my number from church directory. I don't know if you remember me, but you prayed for me 2 weeks ago. I've been using your prayer every day. Meet me in it. Remind me I'm not alone. It's changing everything. Thank you. I read them all twice and I feel it. That warm, settled, this is what I'm made for feeling. This is the purpose echo. Not just what the journey taught me, but what I'm supposed to do with what I learned. Pass it on, tell the story, share the practice, point people to the Father who taught me the family business. Not because I'm qualified, because I'm called. I get out of bed, make coffee, sit at the kitchen table, and I write it down, the thing I want every person who's struggling to know, the takeaway, the handoff, the invitation. Here's what this taught me. Peace isn't the absence of conflict or anxiety or hard things. Peace is the presence of God in the middle of it all. And you don't find peace, you make it. Here's how to apply it this week. Choose one thing you've been avoiding. One hard conversation. One boundary you need to set. One truth you need to speak. And use the practice of breathe, slow, intentional, with prayer. Lord Jesus, have mercy. Bless, speak truth and love over the situation before you enter it. Build, take one concrete step, send the text, schedule the talk, say the thing. You don't need the whole map, just the next step. And remember, you're not doing this to become a child of God. You're doing this because you already are one. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Matthew 5:9. You are called, already, right now, before you get it perfect. And peacemaking is just you learning to sound like your Father. I read what I wrote, and I know, bone deep, Holy Spirit confirmed, this is the message. Not complicated, not theological, not performative, just true and practical, and available to anyone who's tired of peacekeeping and ready to learn peacemaking. I finish my coffee, get ready for the day. And as I'm walking out the door, my phone buzzes one more time. Emma, Mom's party is Saturday. I'm so glad we're doing this together. Love you. I smile, text back, love you too. See you Saturday. Then I add, P.S. Thank you for giving me the chance to make peace instead of just keeping it. You taught me something I needed to learn. Her response is immediate. We taught each other. That's what sisters do. I walk to my car. The morning is bright, clear, ordinary. But I'm not ordinary anymore. Not because I'm special, not because I'm fixed, because I'm awake to who I am. Child of God, peacemaker, wounded healer. And I'm learning, slowly, imperfectly, faithfully, to sound like my Father. The ceiling cracks are still there. The anxiety will probably visit again. But I have a road now. I have a practice. I have an identity that's stronger than my struggle. I am called. And that changes everything. Name the worry. Breathe the prayer. Build the step. That's the phrase I'm carrying forward. The sticky takeaway. The thing I'll repeat to myself when the what-ifs start stacking. Name it. Don't avoid it. Don't pretend it's not there. Breathe it. Invite God into it. Let Him hold it with you. Build it. Take one step. One honest, scared, faithful step. That's peacemaking. And I'm going to keep doing it. One breath, one blessing, one build at a time for the rest of my life. Not because I have to, because I get to. Because I'm His child. And this is the family business. Father, make us peacemakers, not just in theory, but in practice. Teach us to breathe with you in the panic. Teach us to bless the storms we cannot control. Teach us to build the steps you call us to take, even when our hands shake. Remind us we are your children, called, claimed, carried. Before we do anything right, before we fix anything, before we earn anything, we are yours. And peacemaking is how we sound like you. When the thoughts spin at 2 a.m., let us feel your presence in the dark. When the hard conversations loom, let us hear your voice. I am with you. Give us courage to name truth with love. Give us strength to set boundaries with grace. Give us faith to host your peace, even when the winds howl. We can't control the storms, but we can carry your name into the room. Make us sound like you, Lord. Not perfectly, just faithfully. In Jesus' name, the original peacemaker who walked straight into conflict to make peace between us and you. Amen. Peace within. You've got it now. Not because the storm stopped, but because you learned to host Him in the middle of it. Go in peace, child of God. You are called. You are a peacemaker. And this week, this ordinary, sacred, beautiful week ahead, you're going to make peace like your Father does. One breath, one blessing, one build at a time. Welcome to the family business. That night, the night that would have been just another sleepless ceiling session a month ago, I go to bed at 10:47 p.m. Normal time. Reasonable hour. The kind of bedtime that says, I trust sleep will come. I lie down. Same bed, same pillow, same ceiling with its 17 cracks illuminated by the hallway light I leave on now. Not because I'm afraid of the dark, but because I've learned darkness doesn't have to mean alone. The ceiling looks back at me, and I smile, because I know these cracks. I've counted them hundreds of times. They've been witnesses to my worst nights, my most desperate prayers, my loneliest spirals. But tonight, they're witnesses to something else. I'm not staring at them with dread, waiting for the what-ifs to attack. I'm just looking, acknowledging, remembering. This is where it started. This is where I broke open. This is where God met me. The router blinks its blue rhythm in the hallway. The fridge hums its hymn in the kitchen. The same sounds that used to amplify my anxiety now feel like companions. Old friends who've seen me through the valley and out the other side. I take a slow breath. Inhale, Lord Jesus. Exhale, have mercy. Not because I'm panicking, just because I can. Because breathing with Him has become my rhythm now, not my emergency protocol. And I whisper into the quiet, thank you for this ceiling, for these cracks, for every night I thought I was losing my mind. Because every single one of them brought me here, to knowing who I am, to learning the family business, to becoming a peacemaker. The room holds my gratitude like an offering, and I feel it. Soft, certain, unmistakable. Well done, beloved. You learned to sound like me. Now go teach others the song. Tears prick my eyes, but they're good tears. Grateful tears. Because I'm not the same person who stared at this ceiling 4 weeks ago, begging for peace to fall from the sky like magic. I'm someone who learned to make peace with God, like God, because I'm God's child, and that identity, child of God, called, claimed, peacemaker, is written on my heart now in ink that won't fade when the hard nights come again. I close my eyes, feel the weight of my body on the mattress, feel the softness of the pillow, feel the gentle pull of sleep that used to feel impossible, and I think about tomorrow, Saturday, Mum's birthday party. Emma and I planned it together, honestly, imperfectly, with boundaries and laughter and the kind of sister love that can hold conflict without breaking. Sunday, coffee with Michelle to check in on her peacemaking practice. Next week, another lunch with Jessica, another conversation with someone who needs to know the ceiling cracks don't have to be prison bars. They can be witnesses to transformation. Ordinary days, normal moments, but I'm living them as someone different now, as a peacemaker. Not because I'm perfect, not because the anxiety is gone forever, Not because I'll never have a hard night again, but because I know the practice, I know the road, I know whose child I am, and when the what-ifs come knocking, and they will, I'll breathe with Jesus, bless the situation, and build one faithful step. Again and again and again, until it's not a practice anymore, until it's just who I am. My phone is on the nightstand, face down, but I know what's on the lock screen without looking. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Matthew 5:9. I whisper it one last time, not as a reminder, as a declaration. I am blessed, not because I earned it, because He calls me His. I am a peacemaker, not because I'm good at it yet, because I'm learning the family business. I am a child of God, already, always, forever. The words settle in my chest like stones in a river, solid, anchored, unmovable. Peace within, not the absence of hard things, the presence of God in the middle of them, the knowledge that I'm never alone, never abandoned, never outside the reach of the Father who's teaching me to sound like Him. Peace within. I have it now, not because the ceiling changed, because I did. Sleep pulls at me, gentle, insistent, the way it used to come before anxiety turned nights into battlefields. And just before I drift, just in that liminal space between waking and dreaming, I hear the ceiling whisper back to me, "You're not the same person who counted me 4 weeks ago. You're becoming who He's always called you to be. Well done, peacemaker. Well done, child of God. Now rest. Tomorrow, you'll teach someone else the way home." I smile in the dark, because tomorrow I will, and the next day, and the next, because this is the family business, and I'm finally learning to sound like my Father. May you sleep tonight knowing you are held, not by the ceiling, but by the hands that made the ceiling and everything under it. May you wake tomorrow knowing you are called, not to perfection, but to peacemaking, one scared and faithful step at a time. May you walk into every hard room knowing you carry His name, not as a burden to perform, but as an identity to rest in. Peace to your nights when the what-ifs stack and the ceiling stares back. Courage to your days when the conversations loom and your hands shake, and the steady, unshakable ceiling crack witnessing knowledge that you are a child of God, called, claimed, and commissioned to make peace like He does. Not alone, never alone, always accompanied. Breathe with Him, bless with Him, build with Him, one step, one prayer, one ceiling crack at a time. Peace within. You've got it now, beloved, not because the storm stopped, but because you learned to host the peacemaker in the middle of them. The ceiling knows your secrets, but now it knows your transformation too. Same 17 cracks, different you, child of God, peacemaker, His. Go in peace, and make peace wherever you go. The family business is waiting, and you were made for this. Amen.